Morning, everyone. Simon Coleman here from the Insurance Apprentice. As promised, we're going to be doing a few behind-the-scenes interviews between each episode. And this morning, I decided that I really needed to chat to Mpho Machola. You may remember that he was in episode 1, which is the one that's just aired, and he was the world's greatest salesman, I think is how he put it when he introduced himself. And things really didn't go well for him. He didn't make it into the top 10. And I just thought, you know, with this guy's personality and the way that he presented himself during the elimination round, we really have to chat to him and get some of his story. And he's kindly agreed to do that. So I'm going to be letting him into the meeting now. And we'll also be watching a very short clip of his interaction with the judges on the show. All right, so with me today, I've got Mpho Machola. Mpho, did I pronounce your name correctly?
110%, huh?
Like your mother would? Or maybe not.
But you left out one part. Mpho Sales Machola.
Tell me now, did your mother give you that name, or is this one that you gave yourself a little bit later on in life?
My mom gave me Mpho Machola, right? And then as soon as she realized that I'm brilliant at selling, she said, actually, I should have named you Sales because you're good at the sales thing. And ever since, yeah.
I want to just pause it there because we're going to watch a little clip now.
I'm going to make it to the final round. Mpho Sales Machola, greatest salesman that ever lived. Nice to meet you guys. You guys are looking posh.
I would argue that I'm the greatest salesman.
Oh, it's a battle.
Very, very good afternoon to you, beautiful judges. My name is Mpho Sales Machola, the greatest salesman that ever lived. We're going to be talking about a new product that we're going to be developing. The team name is Insurance. Can't take again, right? All right, so today we're going to be talking about an app that we're going to be developing that has to do with information on the app itself when it comes to...
Let's just pause it there. What's going through your mind at this specific moment?
Thank you for taking me back to trauma land. So... When I relive and relook this moment, I've never ever in my entire existence started when I had to present. I've never froze. I've heard people say, "Hey, I froze when I had to present. Information overload. I did not know what I was saying." I've heard people say that before, and I never thought it could happen to me. So anyway, just to relive that moment. So remember, what people don't see from the outside in is that the whole apprentice, it's documented. So when something is documented, it means there's camera, there's lighting, there's cut, action.
A lot of extra stress.
So, you know, so anyway, I started with my presentation. So number one, I didn't have a cue card because, you know, when you present, you keep like a little cue card just to remember your words, you know, so that you don't get lost. And there was a screen, if you can look, oh, there's a screen behind that lady where the presentation was on. So my tactic was that I'm not going to use a cue card and I will not look at the presentation. I'm just going to freestyle because I speak for a living. I'm good at what I do. So anyway, I started doing the presentation and then the team name, because we had 4 team names that we agreed upon. And then I was like, I'm like, no, man, which one did we go with in my mind that time? And then I asked, I'm like, can I start all over? Because throughout the shooting, they kept on saying, okay, stop, start, you know, cut, action. So I thought they'll be like, okay, cut, action. And then everyone looks at me when I ask, can I redo this thing? And they're like, I'm like, oh man, this thing is recording.
But tell me something.
As soon as I tried to redeem.
So no one else had this problem that you were having. So how did they manage to do it? And the greatest salesman that ever lived, something happened there. They all had the same lights on them, the same cameras. but you were the one that choked here. I'm not sorry. I'm not trying to be harsh on you.
No,
I just
I'm
want
with
to
you.
understand.
I'm
You're
with
all
you.
in the same environment, and there you are. I mean, you walked out. You were like, "Good evening, good day, good morning, beautiful judges." I think that's that's how you opened it. The
Yeah, that's what I
schmoozing
said.
started
Yeah.
straight away. And then stuff just started to go wrong. Let's just watch a little bit more of this. I want to just.
Okay. So today we're talking about an app. The app is basically in terms of information. I guess it was all the cameras, the audience, the judges. So it was more information overload and information went out. And I was like, what's going on? Why am I freezing?
Who, in your opinion, Shivani, in your team, contributed the least?
I would say Mpho. I just felt that while the team was heading on one track, a lot of curveballs were thrown in, which threw us off.
So I mean, Shivani basically chooses you when she's pressurized into doing it. She's one of the top 10 finalists who went through to the next round.
Sorry.
How did that feel when you heard her say that? You know, like she chose Mpho.
I saw it coming. I literally saw it coming.
You knew it was gonna
So
happen.
while we're busy, yeah. So they gave us a task to develop an insurance product for under 30s, right? So obviously, and I must say, I take my head off to everyone in my team and everyone that participated, because everyone is smart, everyone is wit, everyone is like on point, you know. So anyway, they put 5 strong people in one team, super strong people, and one idea has to pass, right? So at the end of the day, it was actually my idea that we used. So, but everyone wanted to add a little bit of a touch. So it was like, okay. But in my opinion, she didn't want to listen to whatever I was saying. So it came across as a power struggle kind of thing. But at the end of the day, we're fine. You know, it was like, hey, we're both under pressure. So when they asked that question, you know, who contributed the least? In my mind, I was calculating, I was seeing formulas, and obviously in a natural sense.
So did you think that she was going to choose you because you guys had a bit of a power struggle earlier on? So even if you had delivered your bit well, you think Shivani would have still
it was still
you?
me. It was still Mpho. It was still Mpho. Yeah.
Do
and
you
then
accept,
the
do you
other
accept
thing
any
was,
responsibility here for being kicked out?
Only responsibility, the only yeah. Sorry, you can talk. Sorry, man.
No, go. I mean, all I'm saying is, it sounds like you're saying the outcome was predetermined. So whether or not you choked or then you would have still gone out. And I'm saying, I mean, where's the accountability? I mean, do you feel responsible at all for what happened to you here?
No, 100%. I totally take a full responsibility. I'm the one that couldn't deliver the presentation, which obviously it put my colleagues or my team members under strain and a lot of pressure, because now they had to finish from where I left off. The one point that I was making is, if they ask who contributed the least, it only makes sense to point out to a person who choked or a person who fumbled in their presentation to say, yeah, it's you. So yeah.
Let me just stop sharing there. Okay, so yeah, thanks for going through that painful experience. So, I mean,
torture.
From the very first moment, and I mean, I'll tell you this, and maybe it's going to make you feel worse rather than better, but some of the judges had identified you as a favorite before this happened. You know, kind of going like, you know, this guy is definitely going to go all the way in this competition, and then of course this happened. This big match temperament just wasn't there. So Mpho, when you and I chatted for the first time, and I don't get to attend the elimination rounds, unfortunately, but I was immediately struck by your confidence. But at the back of my mind, I was going, when people first meet you, is it possible they can mistake this confidence for arrogance? And if that happens, you know, when the chips are down, you might be the one that's kicked out of the room, kind of thing. You know, how do you feel about that?
You know, what people don't realize or understand is that confidence is a big camouflage. You basically, or me, I'm hiding insecurities. I'm hiding failure. I'm hiding the fact that I'm actually scared, you know, in the room. It's a big camouflage. So instead of dwelling into fear and thinking about what if I don't make it, how are people gonna look at me, I would rather just pump my belief system to a point where I believe in myself. But when it comes out abruptly, where somebody looks at me and they're thinking, "Ah, you think you know." So I feel that it's not it has nothing to do with arrogance, because if you do not believe in you, who's gonna believe in you? That's how I look at it.
And thanks for sharing that. I can see you went to like a very personal place there. And I think that's what we want to see in our leaders of tomorrow, you know, that everybody's a real
Yeah.
person. Did you learn anything from this experience? I mean, will you change the way you conduct yourself or the next sale that you do because of your experience on The Apprentice?
The only thing I would change is preparation when it comes to doing a presentation. I feel that even if I had a low cue card that was hidden in my blazer, I could have taken out and I could have just remembered what I wanted to present on. But instead, I came across as not prepared because I had no cue card. I even forgot where the screens were in terms of the presentation itself. So the only thing I would change is lack of preparation. But from a confidence perspective, I just feel that there's no two people who think the same. There's no two people that look at situations the same. But if I downplay myself, it means I'm automatically setting myself up for failure. That's it.
If I may, I mean this we hope somebody that's thinking of entering the competition will kind of, this will hopefully spur them on to entering next year. The point I'm trying to make is that you know, I think that extreme confidence, it may serve you better, and I'm not trying to give you a lecture, if there's a little bit of balance on it in terms of humility, because you know, everybody has those moments when things just don't go well. And if you've gone in there and you've told everyone you are the best in the world, you know, a lot of people look at that and go, I can't wait for this guy to fail.
Yeah, let's see.
And I mean, you don't want that, you know, you want people in your corner, you want people behind you. I certainly wish you had gotten through, because I would have loved to have had you in front of my judging table. I think that would have
I
been
would have loved that
interesting.
as well.
Yeah. And unfortunately, you're too old now, so you can't enter next year. But maybe you can help guide some young people into making a decision to join The Apprentice. Do you have any advice for somebody that might be thinking of joining? Just before we wrap up.
If you're thinking about it, stop thinking, just do it. Just go through the first step and just take the plunge. Because for me, I've never had so much fun in the last, call it 10 years. This was the first time I got so challenged. I got taken out of a comfort zone, and I got to meet my peers and people who are on the same train of thought as me. So from a leadership perspective, from a networking perspective, from a challenging yourself perspective, go out there and do it. It's a beautiful experience. And if you choke, you learn something from it.
You learn how to be an even greater salesman.
You know what I mean?
All right. Well, Mpho Sales Machola, I appreciate your time, and yeah, thanks for entering, and thanks for being a good sport and doing this interview with me. I really appreciate it. Good luck to you.